before we let Michael Cheika go, he's submitting himself this week to the Fast Five, the questions you wanted to ask the Waratahs and Wallabies coach. Let's get into it.
Brought to you by Hahn Super Dry 3.5.
All right, the first one for you. What is Monday morning like after a bad loss, preferably in one word?
Nasty.
Very good.
I've got one here.
For me and for them
And the
as well.
players. But I've got one here from Facebook. Are you going to find some hills and stairs to make the Wallabies run up and down over in the World Cup in London? It's pretty flat, London.
Yeah, it is pretty flat. They'll be getting the tube around, I imagine. But perhaps we'll find a few here in Australia before we leave.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Get the mind working.
Right, check one from Glenda. Who, if any, would you get down in the rooms to give the Wallabies a good rev up prior to the Bledisloe match?
That's a toughie. That is a toughie because that's the key moment of the game, you know what I mean, before the match. But
You could wheel in Johnny Howard in his tracksuit. He was pretty good for us in the early days.
a bit of rev up,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I hear the great Alan Jones is one of the great orators as well. You could fire that tank. Well, you know, maybe one of the commentators off the panel.
You got some
never know,
options.
you know what I mean?
But, mate, when you were playing back in the day, mate, the toughest opponent you played against in Sydney Club Rugby?
They must have got you to ask that question on purpose because definitely yourself. No, I reckon in the not that you weren't tough, mate, but you just weren't up there at that level. But I think always enjoyed going to Warringah to play against those guys. They were all mountains up there, and Steve Lidbury.
Leave it at Libbo.
Mate,
He'll love that.
Say no more. He'll love that.
Wow, well,
Libbo,
that's
we
the
love
truth
you.
of the matter.
And the last one, are you a very technical coach? Is that how you would describe your style of coaching?
I've got it in me, but I use it sometimes. But I think it's probably more the domain of in the Waratah setup, for example, of Daryl and Nathan and Mario, and I might get more into some of the bigger picture stuff. But when it needs be, I think the technicality of knowing that to be able to perform it under pressure is very important. So I've got to know what it is.